Alright, for question number 2, I don't give you the data, so you're going to have to go out there and find the data. I gave you a link to it. This has to do with daylight hours each day of the year. So you follow this link, control click, and it'll take you there. Or it should take you to the Navy website. Yeah, there it is. Okay, with all kinds of data here available for the public, and I linked it to you. This is either daylight hours or nighttime hours. Yeah, table of, you can choose daylight. Oh, I see. Okay, so you got U.S. cities and you got worldwide cities. Okay, so what we want to do is pick a U.S. city that isn't too far north or south, okay, because then it might not follow the pattern that we're looking for. You get a lot of daylight and a lot of darkness when you're at the North Pole, right? So we want a typical number of hours of daylight somewhere close to where we live, okay? So for example, I don't know, wherever you want, right? So I'll just pick Miami, and that's it. And this is for this year, and compute table, and it'll tell you how many hours of daylight you get, and it's a very long data, okay? But what all you have to do is, all I need is 12, right? Let's, for example, take the first of each month, okay, and that's your data. So the first month, January 1st, would coincide with your first data value, and there's the number of hours and minutes, right? And then it goes up, right? So January you don't get a long daylight, and then February, March, and you get more, right? And you can see the pattern there, okay? But what you're gonna have to do is, Excel's not gonna like this data, so what you're gonna have to do is transform or change 12 hours 26 minutes, right, 12:26, into decimal hours. So if you think about that, think about what 12 hours 30 minutes would be. That'd be 12 and a half hours, right? So in other words, you're just going to divide the minutes by 60 to give you the decimal amount. So in your data set in Excel, so let's go ahead and look at that, 12:26. Okay, and whatever month that was, let's say it's for the 4th month, and it's in, you know, time, typically how we would calculate time. That's not how I want it, right? 12:26 minutes. I want it as a decimal. So that would be, I guess, one way to do it, and there's a bunch of ways to do this. You could say 12 plus the 26 minutes, but you want to make the 26 minutes a value out of 60, right? So you want it as a decimal. So if I put that in, that doesn't sound right to me. 26 out of 60 should not be, oh yeah, that's right, I'm sorry, 0.4, right? So 12:30 would be 12.5, right? Yeah, and 12 hours 26 minutes would be 12, and 26 over 60, right? It's just a fraction over 60, so it's a little less than 12.5. Okay, that's the data you want for your output. Alright, so you can go ahead and graph that in Excel just like we did in the previous example. But here's the problem. Once you do that, if you remember when we did our first question, right, that my options for curve fitting were only the sine curve wasn't on there, right? So at least as far as I know, there's no way to do that. If you can figure it out, then that's great, because I don't know how to, okay? But what you can at least do with the, see, there's no sine option here, right? Okay, so what you can do in Excel is you can at least do the scatter plot just like we did, and you can put that in your project. Now, what about the second question, or the second graph? This is where it becomes a little tricky, and I'll leave this as part of the project. Graph the function with the scatter plot. Okay, so you can find the model with your calculators. Okay, that's what you're going to have to do, find the model with your calculators, or you can try to figure out how to do it online, which I'm sure there's a way to do. Here's the suggestions I'm putting. You can do the scatter plot and curve in TI Interactive. Okay, so I'll give you the link to the download. That's the program I use in class. So you can actually download that program and try it in there. And I'll kind of leave that up to you to figure out. You can do the scatter plot Excel, and you can graph the curve on an online graphing calculator. What's an online graphing calculator? Well, if you just Google online graphing calculator, you'll find a whole bunch of them. Okay, so this would be another way to get to show me the curve of the sine function. All right, I don't like this one. There's a whole bunch of them, right? If you just graph online graphing calculator, then it should give you a bunch of results for online graphing calculators. Okay, so in one of these, you could graph your, this one's good right here, foo plot. You can graph your sine curve. That is, you'll have to get your sine curve by using your calculator, right? By using the sine reg option on your calculator, and then you type that in right here, right, and it'll spit out your sine curve. Now the trick is you got to get that to your project, right? You got to save that image to your project, and you have to mess with that. If all else fails, you can always do a print screen, and if you don't know how to do that, I can help you with that. You can just print your whole screen and then take what you want from it. So that's another option, and this is up to you, and I'm interested to see what you do. What else could you do? You could, I would actually allow you, since there's no easy way to do this, at least that we know of, you could literally, you have nice cameras, a lot of you on your phones, you could take pictures on your graphing calculator. You could do your scatter plot, take a picture, and then you could graph your sine function, take a picture, insert that. I don't know how nice that's going to look, but that's an option. Or you can just find your own way, right? Ultimately, what I want as far as the graphs in your project go are two graphs, one of the scatter plot and then one of the function. Okay, so I'll leave that up to you to figure out, and certainly you'll have questions and you can ask me, right? Ask me at the break in class, ask me at the end of class, ask me in my office hours, send me an email, and I can help you.